View the minutes and find them in order and move for approval.
Got a motion here, second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, on the second Weakley Lane Convenience Center property proposed 1 acre, transfer to Smyrna.
Chairman, I can take that if you don't
Okay.
mind. Just a reminder, the Weakley Lane Convenience Center, the the town of Smyrna and the county had an agreement to transfer 1 acre at the back of the county's property to the town of Smyrna. They were desperate for land, so they agreed to build a sewer across their property and onto the remaining land of the counties. So when we move to our new location farther up the street on G Street, we can put this on the market and help offset the cost for those. So they have made some progress on the plat, and I'll pull that up and show you real quick. They are showing the sewer line easement. This is the 1 acre that'll be transferred over to the town of Smyrna. They're going to combine all 3 of their parcels plus the 1 acre when they do this combination plat, and they have made the adjustments we've asked for to show that as a 10-foot public sewer easement and extend it into the county's remaining property, which will be 3.5, a little over 3.5 acres of industrial land. And the only remaining item was some verbiage that the town of Smyrna and our county attorney, Nick Christensen, were kind of trying to work out some wording to maybe put on the plat to say something like the town of Smyrna is going to build the sewer and will maintain it from here on out. Typically, when you have a final plat that the utilities are not already in place, like this sewer line, you either post a surety. Sometimes the governments will do a memorandum of understanding, or like Nick had come up with the idea to just put some verbiage on this plat that the town of Smyrna will build the sewer onto the county's remaining land. Just so it's known and recorded with the plat. So that's the only thing we're waiting on is the verbiage. Nick's, I believe, on his vacation, so he needs to work that out with Nick. But this is just an update of that. So they're getting a lot closer than they were before. But
Okay. Commissioner?
I'm sorry.
I said that would be in the deed when we switch over, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, there will be a deed, but it would be, like I said, typically if the utility is not installed with a subdivision plat, you either post a surety or, like between governments, you come up with a memorandum of understanding. So we thought it would be easier just to put some verbiage on this plat because this is going to be recorded and it will become a legal document as well. So
I'm just wanting to make it clear for the next generation.
yes, ma'am, and that's what we wanted too, is to have some written, recorded information that we can draw from. So when we're not around, that other people will know, yeah, that's the town of Smyrna built this sewer for the remaining parcel.
Okay, any other questions? That's information only, correct?
Yes, sir. I don't believe, since we don't have the final verbiage of that, we'll wait on that.
All right, next on the agenda, Veterans Community Center.
Adam Dye.
We've made significant progress. Carpets have been installed. We're hoping that the contractor will come out this week and finish the LVT. We were able to complete the grinding of the ADA ramp. We're hoping that tomorrow we can start installing the handrails and the signage. The representative from the veterans community met us over there early last week and added some additional items that they wanted us to look into, and some things they wanted us to fix. So we went ahead and tackled those items. We've about completed that list. I think that in conversations with Nick, we're getting close to on our lease agreement with both sides. So that's kind of where we stand with the Veterans Community Center.
Okay, any questions on Veterans Community Center?
Yes, sir.
Next, One Stop.
Well, Mayor, we've had several holdups with One Stop. Right now, the last time I was out there, we were still dealing with the soil.
Yeah, the closest area going towards that little creek, they said some of the soils were a little spongy. So they were trying to decide what to do, but I think we had a lot of rain during that period of time, so they dug down. They were going to shift it over to the side and kind of let it dry out. They didn't want to have to bring in a lot more expensive riprap or some type of rock base to put on top of it, but I think they got it down to an additional cost of, was it $60,000?
Yes.
Yeah, $60,000 additional that PBA, that notice was given to Chairman Vaught and PBA and the rest of the committee. I think we can get by with that as opposed to the $300,000 they were first talking about.
Okay, any questions on One Stop? Next on the agenda, Public Health and Safety Buildings.
Okay, where we stand at with Kittrell, they've mostly been still in the administrative stages. They have completed their erosion control. Their site survey is now complete. I think they have a fence layout. They're looking for Monday or Tuesday to set up their temporary electric and bring out the equipment early next week. So we should start seeing some digging going on next week out at Kittrell.
So that's American Constructors. And
Yes,
if you've been out by Rockville is you're going to mention that?
We're quite a bit further along out at Rockville. Of course, that project started a little sooner. They have actually blocked up to about scaffold height. They were spreading gravel today. They had a plumber on site. So they're hoping early next week that they can actually start pouring some concrete out there.
Any questions on?
Commissioner Reed was overexcited. Had his construction helmet on. And
Okay, any question on Public Health and Safety Buildings? If not, next, Community Care.
I got that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. So at the last Community Care board that Commissioner Cook and I sat on, we authorized the moving forward on taking out a loan. The Community Care Board would take out a loan to build the new daycare facility. We've been working on this for about 3.5 years. It'll be the first 24/7 daycare facility in the state of Tennessee, either private or public sector. And we're using it as a recruiting tool and also a recruitment tool. Right now, we were out there yesterday. They're doing an article about this announcement in the paper. There were 28 students, not students, but children, ages 6 weeks to 6 years is the age group. This new facility will be a $4 million facility. It'll be licensed up to 125 children through the state. It's going to be built right to the back, if you'll see where those two shipping containers are. If you'll go straight back, straight up, right in there on that, what used to be a pad of the old wing, is where that will be built. And back down here, there's an entrance coming out of the main building, and they'll build a covered walkway over to that, to where the meals will be prepped and prepared inside the nursing facility and then taken over. But we have a lot of employees who work second, third shifts and nowhere to take their children for affordable daycare. So what is before you tonight, I took this to took it to Health and Education Monday night, and it passed unanimously, is that we'll be working with the Tennessee County Services Loan Program for the $4 million with the CCRC board. Even though it's on our property, we'll end up owning the building, but the loan, it should pay out, and we're getting an exceptional rate, interest rate, because of who we are and the credit rating of the county behind it. It will be, hang on just a second and I'll share that with you. So the total cost of the issuance of the fixed rate loan, it'll be a 15-year loan. So it's 0.60% of the fixed rate for the issuance. And I told you it was 15 years. I'm looking for the fixed rate on 15 years is 2.86% over the life of the loan, and with no penalty for early payoff. And also we can draw down on this over a 3-year period as needed. So it's not like we're having to start paying the interest on the front end for the whole amount. So as we draw down, the way they do with municipal counties and cities, when they make loans, then they only start charging you for the amount that you draw down as the construction proceeds forward. So we're excited about this. We bring it before you tonight to send on to Budget Committee. Like I said, it's already passed Health and Education. It will go to full budget and the full commission to request that we can proceed ahead with the resolution. Any questions?
The county will own that daycare building,
That is correct.
and just like we own the community care building.
That's correct. And it's on our land.
It's on our land, and it's our kitchen. It's going to be open 24 hours a day.
That's correct.
So,
And there'll be a certified tornado shelter in it as well, in one section of the building for the kids. So there's a lot of excitement about it. The new name was given to it this past year during the COVID. Had a lot of time to think, but the employees actually named it, and it's called Generations Connected Daycare. And the many of our patients at the nursing home love it, because they take these young kids and put them in. They've got these double-decker strollers, and they'll put the young kids in there, and they go over and have activities with the senior citizens over there, and they do different skills with them, and they get to play with them, and you know, it's really, they light up every time the kids come down the hall.
Did you say the rate would be 2.86?
Yes, sir.
I guess that AAA bond rating was kind of beneficial in helping get that rate, don't you
Yeah,
imagine?
Mr. Krasinski, Kevin Krasinski, with the loan program, he said our AAA bond rating spoke volumes. Since we're one of only 4 in the state that has that.
Mr. Gooch?
This is probably not important, but on the first paragraph that was up there, it said it was going through the PBA of
PBA,
Clarksville.
we took it to the PBA. The PBA did accept it at their last meeting, I believe. Dan's here. They accepted to take this challenge on, and so they'll start. And the process is we want to make sure that we had the resolution signed off on by the full commission, which will happen in 2 weeks, and then at that point in time, the PBA will start looking and bringing in some contractors and deciding who the architect has already been decided. They're using Johnson Bailey, who built the last wing onto the nursing facility several years ago.
It just says that the PBA of the city of Clarksville.
Yeah, I asked Kevin about that. I said, that's interesting. He said the way that they do things through the state late loan program, they're using the same vehicle with the last loan that they made to the city of Clarksville, and it cuts down on having to be repetitive on language for this one loan.
But our PBA would be doing the,
Oh, that's correct.
okay.
Yeah, Montgomery County won't have anything to do with it. It's just all on paper.
Any other questions? Entertain a motion. Motion is second. Discussion.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Dodd?
Has Nick reviewed this and accepted the reference to the city of Clarksville taking out the being mentioned as taking out the loan? Has Nick approved Clarksville being stated? It looks unusual to me.
It's unusual. He's okay with it, and they explained that to him, the loan program folks, who is Mr. Krasinski. He explained that to him as to how that worked and today, but he's okay with it.
You're okay with that, Chairman, as well?
Yes, I am, since it's like governmental body to another governmental body for a loan. That loan specifically covers the whole state of Tennessee, and Clarksville is in the state of Tennessee.
That's correct.
So I don't think it's nothing hidden where we're gonna lose it to Clarksville. So as long as it's on the state level, I have no problems with it. Okay, any other questions? Call the roll.
Commissioner Cook?
Yes.
Commissioner Gammon?
Yes.
Commissioner Dodd?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Gooch?
yes.
Chairman McAdoo?
Yes.
One more item that's on your SharePoint, just bring the committee up to date. You know that we received the Christy Houston Foundation grant 2 years ago to finish, I think it's G Community, there at the nursing home. It's basically cosmetic. We have phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. The company, Garver, you'll see on the last page of the minutes, Garver Construction Company out of Sumner County, and probably they were a little irritated and wrote a letter to everybody and their brother, and you all probably received a copy of it. They didn't like it, but they were requested by the board. Mr. Evan Cope, the board's attorney, nursing home board's attorney, said that we were within our rights to cancel the contract moving forward on phase 2 and phase 3. I think maybe what happened, I'm surmising here, but I think it's pretty true. Right when they got started is when COVID hit, Carver Construction lost all of their subcontractors and were unable to get any to come back down and complete. There would be weeks upon weeks that nothing was done during that period of time. And he said, well, it's because of COVID. Well, basically that whole wing was sealed off. And they had an outside entrance to where the workers could come in, and nothing was done. So this is a PBA job as well. And Mr. Picklesheimer is the architect who is on the PBA. And they have located a contractor, and because it was declared as an emergency by the board, Mr. Cope said that he felt that it met that need because we're in the middle of the project. So he sent them a letter telling them that their services no longer needed and that we would reimburse him for any products that he had that might be used in phase 2 and phase 3 to where he was made whole. But there's a construction company, that United Church Homes, the company that is contracted with Community Care, uses this contractor, and they're in many states, and they have a location in Nashville, and they have their own employees, as opposed to subbing out all the cosmetic work that needs to be done. I'm talking new floors, painting, new fixtures in the restrooms, new tile in the showers. That's basically the cosmetic, no structural moving of the walls or anything else at this point. So that's just an FYI, letting you know what PBA is doing on that facility that we own.
Questions? Thank you for the update. Okay, any other business on community care? Okay, other business. First thing under other business we got is Rutherford County custodial services, a comparison.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, let me, while Adam is up here, let me move forward with that. And so for quite some time, even before Mr. Mankin left and Adam took this position as Director of Facilities and Maintenance, we were having difficulty in getting good housekeeping done in our buildings. And we, as during the budget process, you'll see that we felt like that if we can give Adam enough staff, and that will be reflected in his new budget, he's overworked and understaffed for the number of buildings that we have acquired. They haven't, unfortunately, Mr. Mankin didn't hire anymore, and a lot of our custodials, employees that are working in our buildings are basically part-time. The lady that has been handling our custodians, she fell ill and was out for weeks and weeks and weeks, and nobody running things there. They finally, over at the JC, the Judicial Center, which is a beast of a building, just to clean all the floors, the restrooms, keeping them looking nice, dusted, vacuumed, etc. We were getting complaints from the clerks, the judges. Matter of fact, one office over there was actually putting Cheerios down on the floor to see if they were being vacuumed up at night, and they weren't for days upon end. So also we looked at combining some of the maintenance from EMS and fire and rescue, those buildings as well, and putting that all in and under the direction and control of facilities and maintenance. It makes sense. That's what they should be doing. But it was, everybody had their own little group. We had over at EMS, we actually had a paramedic, which you've seen what they get paid, a paramedic does, and they were not letting him be a paramedic. He was enjoying just mowing the grass and, little odds and ends, fixing flapper balls on toilets and whatever. And when we discovered that, we said, he's got to go back to being what he was trained to be and what we're paying him to do, not mow the grass. We can find other people to do that. So you have before you the county custodial services comparison, and Adam took this job on. He's interviewed a couple of companies and probably has one more to look at to let you know, because things are not getting done, just like our doors here at the courthouse. All due respect, our custodians are older. We don't want them up on ladders because they're not as spry as they once were. So they're only cleaning the front doors to the extent of what they can reach. I asked Adam to look into some other professional custodial companies, and I'll let him take it from here. Adam, explain to them what we're looking at. There's going to be an additional cost that would have to be reflected in this budget, but I just want to create the discussion. Where are we? Where are we going? How are we going to continue to maintain? Reggie and Bobby downstairs, they're talking about retiring. I don't know what we'll do. It's tough getting anybody to come work part-time anymore. So, Adam, you go ahead and start explaining what you've been able to find for the committee.
Well, basically what we did was we started out with just a general scope, kind of guidelines, expectations, from input from other department heads, Sonia, the mayor, and we kind of came up with a, like I say, a scope, a daily expectations. We contacted a couple of professional contractors that specialize in this field, and we've been working on this over a couple of months. So we brought them in, we took them into all of our buildings. We showed them, we broke down the square footage from areas that were carpet, areas that were LVT, areas that were not of concern versus what were our concern. So we tried to, what I'm getting at is we tried to be frugal in what we were asking for. Out of 18 buildings, that's how many buildings we're currently trying to take care of and clean. That square footage would be a little over 255,000 square foot is what we're currently looking at. We took them in, and they've come back with basically a proposal how they could how they feel like they could manage this Monday through Friday, so that every building is being attended to during regular business hours. And to accomplish that, we asked them to give us one supervisor type person that could oversee all of the operation, and daytime staff, a limited number of daytime staff for the offices that we currently have calls that come in. The Judicial Center, we get calls quite often. We've received calls here during the day for accidents, spills and whatnot, so we included some daytime staff into this figure, but our normal cleaning would be done from 4:30 until usually they leave between the hours of 8 and 9 o'clock. So everything here would still be using part-time services, with the exception of 3 full-time staff. So, but this is just a basic summary of what we're asking them to do. All the offices, the conference rooms, restrooms, reception areas, courtrooms that we have, juvenile, this courtroom, the Justice Center. Elevators are included, hallways, training rooms, et cetera. So we're trying to cover everything with this price. If you look at Contractor A on the next page, Contractor A is basically a management company. They're going to outsource all of their employees. We won't know exactly. We ran into this with the Justice Center when they initially started the cleaning services. They hired Jenna King, and we had several issues with that service. So just know that when you go into this, when you're looking at it, a management company is not always the best solution, is what I'm trying to get at. But that figure you're looking at is basically what it's going to cost annually to take care of the 18 buildings and the 255,000 square foot that we're currently maintaining. Contractor A, keep in mind management company. Now, if you slip to Contractor B on the following page, it's a mixture. They actually have, this contractor actually has employees that work exclusively for them. We would have more control over the quality of work that we're getting, and customer service more than likely would increase. Same hours, same staff that I've explained to you before, with the exception, Contractor B, they included in their scope of work that all of their staff wears uniforms, so they're easily identified when they're in our buildings. And they also have inspection sheets that they would keep in all of our buildings that would allow our employees to communicate with them on a regular basis. And I thought that was appropriate, so that if there's something, special request or something that they don't feel is being done properly, then they can communicate with the staff without actually having to see them in person. So same duties, same summary. That cost, basically looking at the same figures. So do you have any questions?
So members, what I was trying to do is let Adam come to you tonight and start some dialogue. Our goal is to make sure that we maintain our buildings. As you know, what this committee's responsibilities are is property management. So what is the best way to manage it? And the cleaner we keep it, the better people view it and continue to respect it. You spend less as opposed to, that's one of the problems that I've seen in other counties over the years, especially with schools, deferred maintenance, where government bodies don't want to spend the money, so they defer the maintenance, and then 10 years later, it costs you twice as much to keep it up, or to repair it when things start falling apart. So if you're constantly keeping it clean, maintaining it, it saves us money long term, in my opinion. So what I'm trying to do is just start some dialogue as we move forward into the budget over the next 30 days. Think about it. You can talk about it tonight. We'll come back to the next Property Management Committee. Of course, we have some time before we set the budget, but this will, if you decide to go this way, it'll need to be inserted into the budget.
Mr. Dodd.
Thanks, Chairman. If you would, Adam, next time we meet or when you bring it before budget, if you would have your current cost estimate or your current costs, whether that's full-time staff.
Commissioner Dodd, if you will turn to the final
Bad
page.
sheet to have it.
Turn to the final page.
Thank you. I didn't turn far enough.
No,
That was quick.
Commissioner, this is
So 200
based,
grand more, just off the surface, a couple $100,000 more. That's a 3-year budget, so it's.
Yes, sir. This is a 3-year average cost. We went back 3 years and we looked at the total amount of numbers that we had in each line item. So we currently have 2 full-time employees. The mayor has already touched on that kind of where we stand with those employees. Part-time staff, I have about 13 positions that are available. I currently have 8 part-time employees in that line item. Custodial supplies and equipment. Now, it's chemicals, consumables, mops, buffers, everything that's consumed into that line item, totaling what you see there. Now, that's just an average. Keep in mind that those vacancies that I have been unable to fill, I mean, that feeds the problem that we're experiencing. So if you look at that number and you move forward going into this next year, to get the quality of the services that we're trying to provide, to bring that quality up, I would have to fill those positions. Probably have to have something along an administrator line to oversee them. So I can't foresee currently what we're paying right now, what we're offering when we're trying to recruit these people to come in. It's just currently not enough. I've been unsuccessful. We've been unsuccessful for years. So I can't. That number that you're seeing would probably increase as well. So if you look at that number and you say you did fill your vacancies and you added money to that total there, there's still inflation cost that we would have to take in. I would say that number could probably increase 10 to 15% going forward. So really, if you look at the numbers that I gave you from the 2 well-known, highly recommended companies that I went with the increases that we would be looking at regardless, if we kept this in-house, I don't think there's going to be a significantly large increase annually, is what I'm trying to say.
Any questions? Commissioner Cook?
Adam,
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say, but all departments have to have somebody to look over their staff. So you may be having to look over some of them. Now, I hate to say it that way, and I wish our employees would take more interest and do a good job. And we have a lot of contracts, and they'll try to get by with lots of things. I have a friend, he's in police business, and he said when he's working in a building and somebody else is working with him, you'll find the other person sitting down when he's supposed to be walking around. And that's what I'm saying. We're going to have someone to monitor these people. And I can see making a department out of it, and you buying the supplies wholesale. Because we have a tax number, we could buy it wholesale and probably save us some more money than going with a janitorial.
I agree with you, Commissioner Cook. That's why I kind of, when I was trying to break down contractor A versus contractor B, I know I was kind of going on, but I agree with you. And the reason why I was is because I want that control. That's why I was trying to express to you how much more valuable I thought that contractor B, that sort of company would be more beneficial to us because we would have more control. I feel like we would have a higher level of quality standards versus hiring just a management company.
But I had never thought of it until all this has been brought up.
Yes, ma'am.
If we decide to go forward, we'll have to put this out to bid. So we'll have to go through that process because it's well over, the $25,000 for sure. But this is something we've never done before. We've just kind of added somebody, a part-time, hey, going back to Mr. Mankin days and before that, just bring somebody in, hey, on a part-time job, sweeping the floors and emptying the trash cans. But I think we're at that point. We're a larger business than that today.
Mr. Johnson?
So basically, if you're looking at 620,000, your estimate for
Yes.
Company B,
Yes, sir.
okay, and the total 3-year average here is 431, 331, correct?
In the past 3 years,
Okay.
yes, that's an
All right,
average.
so basically, and double check me if you've got your calculator there, about $189,669 increase to bring it up to the level that really needs to be as far as personnel and the capability. So that basically be a $189,000 increase on your budget, correct?
Correct, but I don't think that 180 is the most accurate assessment, and I say that because if the positions were filled, and with the wage demands that are out there to be competitive, to get those people to come in and do the work, that number that you're looking at, that's our hard number. That's what we have on the books for the last 3 years. But I'm saying going forward, that 180 difference, it wouldn't really be 180. And I can't project.
It'll be even less. Yeah, it'll be less. Because actually his average.
Percentage-wise,
Yeah.
looking at.
Yes.
Yeah, he would probably be at 500 a year if you had fully staffed, and so we're looking at 120,000 a year or so, and it's $2.41 a square foot annually as well. That's just sounds like a kind of a good way to, doesn't look exorbitant at $2.41 a foot.
Commissioner, also one more thing to note, the cleaning products and chemicals and the equipment, the mops, the buffers, all that equipment is expensive, and we're currently paying for that. So when it breaks, we have to replace it, we have to repair it. Those are additional costs that you're not seeing in these figures, whereas like Contractor B, for instance, they provide their own equipment. So if it breaks, they bring in new equipment, and otherwise cleaning equipment.
Well, and taking it even
chemicals.
further, subtract work comp, subtract,
That's
you know,
a whole nother aspect there. Yeah.
salaries, et cetera, so you're not getting a real true comparison there.
And with never having contracted out, especially this large of a contract, there are going to be some variables that I can't answer.
Well, realistically speaking, the increase is not all that scary because of the cost of everything going up and the fact that you'd be hiring some more employees to maintain or to raise the level of what is expected and what needs to be done. So,
Yes, sir. And what we're finding is that, and I believe Michael has gone through this at Paul's, the part-time thing, it doesn't work quite as good as it used to. You know, there's a lot of people out there that aren't interested. So to get people in, you're having to kind of look at offering that full-time position to lock those people in, and then you've opened up, the insurance, the benefit. You've opened up all these other avenues for additional to add to your budget. So that number is just currently what we've been spending. But if we moved forward, I don't think that difference is really what it looks like on paper.
what kind of action do we need to take, Mr. Chairman? Is this basically FYI, or do we need to take some action?
No, we don't need to take no action tonight. This is just for information only, for you to study it. And if you study it, we may get down into a detailed discussion at the next meeting.
And Mr. Chairman, if he could if he could, Adam, if you could get with Lisa and look at your OJI expenses broken down by the number of employees, because they're paying for that. They're paying for work comp. Put in your salaries, your FICA, everything else that we're paying, and add that to your total of 400 and something. I think you're going to find yourself pretty close.
And we can get into details next meeting, but this was just introduced to us for study, so we would be more equipped with what's coming on at the next meeting about the topic. Commissioner Gannon?
Yeah, Adam, I'm really for the contract work, but I had, on the last sheet, I think, breakdown that you did, is you got the employees benefit, it might have been hit on a little bit, employees benefits, is that added in on what you did on your breakdown on the?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Any other questions? Commissioner Gooch?
So you've met with these contractors?
Yes, sir, as well as the mayor and Sonia.
Did any of them indicate that they would be able to hire some of our present custodians?
Yes, sir, absolutely. They said that we would have the option to they would take our employees, but they would train them. I don't foresee that, really moving forward. The mayor touched on it earlier. The majority of our staff would probably not be able to take a position other than the one that they currently have, due to age, health, job requirements. Like I said, there are a lot of physical parts of the job that they're just simply unable to do.
Any other questions? So if it's specific questions that you want to ask in the next meeting that he don't have the information for now, if you could, just let him know, and he'll have that information for you at the next meeting. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Also, under other business, is there a Donald Lester in the house? Can I entertain a motion to suspend the rules so Donald Lester can speak to this committee? So moved. Got so moved, got a second? All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. Come up.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
On PBA, and as members, Donald is a member of our PBA that you all have voted on and put on PBA with other members and Chairman Vaught. He's one of our esteemed business owners right across the street. You may have seen that white motorcycle in his newest business. At one point in time, I told him that was a keeper, but somebody wanted it more than he did, so they bought it. And he actually, when I challenged him to repair our old well out here, we had some stones missing, and he said he had some on his farm, and he brought them, didn't even charge us for the rocks. But he did put in a whole new gazebo over the top of our well out here and did an excellent job. So just a little intro for he and his company.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. Board, I appreciate you guys, giving me this audience. At the last PBA meeting, it was mentioned about you guys were voting on a budget to do some remodeling at the Goldstein building. And that put a light bulb in my head. I also am part owner of a company called Trifecta Properties, and we own some properties on West Lytle Street, which is directly across the street from the new courthouse that was built. And we would like to offer up an opportunity to negotiate with someone, or you guys, or I don't know who we would talk to, about proposing a trade of properties. The properties that we have listed on West Lytle and with the Goldstein building. We see several advantages to such a trade. One of the things we see is it would allow growth for cultural development on our public square, open space for shops, restaurants, and entertainment venues, make the square more of a fun place to be. It also allows for private funding for the remodel and upkeep and maintenance of that Goldstein building as well. Frees up the government funding and provides a location in a government-friendly sector to build a new state-of-the-art facilities to accommodate the planning, engineering, and building codes departments. The new buildings will not only have the best technology, but also be able to provide a reduced maintenance cost to taxpayers for many years to come. The new building will be located directly across from the front steps of the new county courthouse and could be designed to set a precedent on the Gateway Road into downtown Murfreesboro. The new location is also less than 1 city block from the parking garage, would free up much needed parking space on the square as well. We're also very aware that the Elections Commission is pretty stern and they want to keep that location on the square. So we are open to including that idea in the negotiations as well.
Any questions? Discussion on this proposal? Do you want to have time to study it for next meeting?
Just looking at the tax records, is the sale, the most recent sale, was it all 4 properties combined in a sale? I can't find, the only one that has a sales price currently is multiple parcels for a certain sales price. Do you know? I'm just curious if you...
The most recent sale was not, we did not purchase all of that property at one time. Yeah.
Any other questions? Since we're getting this information tonight, I think maybe the committee should look toward taking it under advisement, asking him to come back next month after we study it. This may be something that's going to go on for the next 2 or 3 months, that different groups or people interested in coming to the square may approach this committee. I'm going to tell you why. Because the city did a workshop, and during that workshop, they brought out their proposal to build this hotel down here on Broad. And I don't know if it's a dead issue or what. They're moving forward. So therefore, on our buildings, especially the Goldstein building, we probably get a lot of interest based on that. So to do it justice, to do everybody justice, it would probably be nice to just take this under advisement until the next meeting, and until we look at some details, like Commissioner Dodd asked about the selling price and all that good information. We can get more details on the selling price of it, and other groups may come and approach us. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure it's wide open because of what Murfreesboro is doing. So I would entertain a motion that we take this under advisement until the next meeting. I can hear a motion to that effect. Got a motion? Got a second? Any other discussion? And I will include you on the agenda for next month also.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Board.
Discussion on that. Is there any, I think it would be fair to Mr. Lester, if we had any questions, could we get them to him before that meeting? Could we email Rachel? Or I don't have any questions. I don't know that, but...
If we got any questions, I'm pretty sure we can send the questions to the mayor
Okay.
office,
Okay,
and the mayor will get them to, yeah.
good. I don't want him to be flat-footed, I want
No,
us to
no,
have
he
time.
won't be
The
flat-footed.
fact that we're all so quiet, it's like, there's a whole lot of thinking,
Yeah.
so I don't want to wait, bombard you.
I guarantee you, he won't be flat-footed. Now, here, did we vote on it? All those in favor? Aye. Okay, it sounds better. Motion passed. Is there any other business to come before us tonight? Not, I entertain a motion to adjourn.